I see that we
Welcome
have
back.
the hat back on and
Yes.
it's beautiful. So yay. I
Thank
want to
you.
steal it. Like if I was there in Utah right now, I'd probably be stealing it and you wouldn't have any idea about it. But like, okay.
If you were here, I'd let you borrow it. So
I mean, I would steal it. I don't borrow stuff.
I'll just borrow it back. We'll just steal it back and forth.
That works.
I did that with my friend, and his like he had like a giant sweater, and I literally gave it to him for Christmas once because I was like, "You can have this back now," and he was like, "I hate you."
That's such an amazing Christmas idea gift, though. Just giving back
Just
stuff that you
something
already
they
stole.
have.
Yeah.
Just steal it first, and then give it back.
Yeah. Oh God. Awesome. Is that a mango that you have right now in your hand?
Yes. I'm
yeah.
I also have some butter and a rice cake. I'm just gonna make breakfast while we talk.
Hey, that works. That works. That definitely works. Although I'm a bit jealous because our mangoes haven't ripened yet. So I mean, it still does make for good chutneys and stuff, like the raw mangoes do make for good chutneys and sandwiches.
I don't know if I've ever had a chutney.
Oh, you should. I'll send you a recipe. It's delicious.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah. With
I like
mint and coriander and cumin, and it's just
say less.
Yeah.
Say less. I'm here. That sounds amazing.
Oh God. Awesome. So let's get into it. It's already recording, and I feel like you're doing a lot of today's talking, so I'll continue to let you do that, and I'll here quietly with my bottle of water, sipping it as I listen to my teacher right here. Yes.
Thank you for allowing me to be the teacher today.
Always.
Okay, so we left off the last video talking about how do we balance the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and how do we follow our own path while also creating our own path, right? How do we do both?
Yeah.
And it's honestly really simple. It's this whole life is really simple, but it's not always easy. So the first thing where I like to start, at least, is I like to start with my masculine, which is my will, right? And sometimes I start with my desire, obviously, which is the feminine. But when I'm trying to create a structure in my life, it just makes more sense to me to lean towards the masculine first, and kind of allow my feminine to blossom around it. So the way I like to do it is to find out what my values are. And we talked about this in our first video, right? We talked about values a little bit. But I believe values are what the masculine, for me, like makes the most sense. Because if you have specific values, if you have things that you hold dear to you, you have morals, you have ethics, you have principles, you live life through a code, you have the ability to create anything inside of that container that you put yourself into, and it's not limited in any way. So if I value wisdom, if I value integrity, if I value love, community, and food, like good food, which I do, I value all of those things, then that means in my feminine, I am able to create and move with desire through all of those. If I don't value, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something I don't value. I don't think about those very often. But if I don't value something, then I won't go near it in order for my feminine to blossom. I feel like that just makes sense.
Yeah, like murder, right? You don't go near murder, and you don't make a creativity blossom.
It's not in my radar. Like if I don't value like the news, right? Like I really don't. Like I haven't watched the news since I was like a child, and my parents would just have it playing in the background, right? So if I don't value looking into that, like watching that every day, then I'm not going to like look into it and like try to like create something around it. Like, no, I'm gonna see what I value, see what I hold strong, and kind of unfold myself within this, because it's a container that makes sense for me. And I don't limit myself, like how integral can I be, right? Like I'm only going to be like 45% integral today. And that's like, no, like I want to try and be like 110%. What if I overcommit? Like, what does that mean? Like, okay, now I know my limits. Okay. And then you kind of work with that. And that's why it's not easy, is because it's going to take some time for you to understand your own limits. And you're like, okay, well, I love wisdom. And one week I overdid it. I'm going to be complete. I overdid it. I watched too many videos. I took in too much information, and I was like, my brain was fried at the end of the week. I was like, why did I do that? Like, why did I overload myself with so much information just so I could forget it, right? Because I overloaded myself. I was like, oh, that was so dumb. Like, I have to understand what I value and then make sure they all have my attention and appreciation in a specific balance. And it's all different for everybody. So it's like, if I value community more than someone else, and they value, maybe abundance more than like someone else, like it's all different. We all decide where to put our attention to. And that's like a really important part of like creating your values.
I love that a lot, because it ties into a lot of the work that I do, right? Like limitations, setting boundaries. And a lot of times I've been asked this question, right? Like, why, if you are someone who's striving towards creating freedom, why do you create boundaries? Why do you create limitations? And I'm like, it's exactly because I create those limitations that I can experience the freedom that I want to experience to its highest possible limit, right? Like you said, that wisdom was probably really amazing that you kind of downloaded into your mind, but you weren't able to efficiently enjoy and experience all that you learned because there were no boundaries, there were no limitations. And I'm not trying to attack you or anything like that.
No, that was so well said. I love that. Like, when you said you weren't able to experience it correctly, like basically like I was lost within, I got lost in the sauce. Like I got lost in it. You get lost in the concept of receiving it, that you don't actually enrich your life at all because of it. So I love that. That's why I was like, get it.
Yay. You were probably a blip on the radar for a minute. I know. I'll try to squeeze one blip every episode for sure.
No.
You are the one who said it, G. You have to deal with the consequences of it.
I can take accountability for it.
Ooh, I feel like that was some really good stuff though. Like, just balance is okay. Let me get into this. Okay, so I've heard this a couple of times, right? Like
I know, I'm like, get it, I'm gonna make this while you teach me now.
No, so I mean, it's just crazy because I've heard this a couple of times where people were like, balance is an outdated term because of the fact that it's two opposing forces fighting to reach a middle. And I have never seen it like that. And no matter how many times people have tried to explain it to me, like, I respect their point of view, but I don't get it because, okay, so let's talk about work-life balance, right? So work and life, people always think these as the opposing forces, whereas I think of them as two aspects of my being that deserve to live again, like fully. Like, if I am a creator, I would love to create, but that doesn't mean that I would create the entire day and not live the rest of the day, right? I mean, that doesn't make sense. And it doesn't have to be opposing forces where they're all fighting. It's more of a smooth flow. Those lava lamps, how the lava kind of flows from one end to the other, and it just keeps going on and on and on.
You can barely see it, but I have one right here.
Yeah, I
it's
can.
Not on.
Yeah.
but it's there.
Yeah, I mean, I always think of balance as that, not as two opposing forces, but two equal forces that deserve the attention they ask for, right? And it doesn't have to be like they're fighting each other to get it. Rather, it can live and coexist peacefully without having to be like, no, I'll take time away from you. Like, even if I take time, let's say this, okay, I'm into creation mode, I'm writing fan fictions late into the night, which I just did like last Sunday. So I'm writing fan fictions till 4 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't mean that I won't sleep for a longer period of time the next day, right? Like, I will give equal amounts of attention to both of those things, even if I'm taking time away from my life. While giving to creativity, I'll take time away from creativity to give back to life. I mean, yeah, I yeah, I
Okay, I'll step in.
step in, please.
I really enjoyed that you said that, because it brings back Mercury, you know, the metal Mercury, right?
Yeah.
It does that same thing where it's able to ebb and flow, and whatever happens to it, even if you like put it through a strainer, it'll just come back together, right?
Yeah.
And I love that visualization for like the lava lamp as balance, because it's true. Like, everything's moving, it's constantly changing, it looks beautiful, and you're not like upset when there's like a dot over here and then like a glob right here, right? Like, you're not like, what the heck, like, get back in your place, right? Like, you don't get upset about it. It's a beautiful dance. You need, oh, this girl Sam that I hung out with on Sunday, she said this. She said, we need death, because if life was the only thing that happened, like, nothing would be beautiful. And she was like, imagine like a note. Like, if life took over music, it would just sound like, ah, right? Like, it would just be like forever. A note needs to die for music to be like beautiful. And I was like, ooh, like,
that was so good.
Yeah, I was like, that is so good, because it's true. Like, we need that constant, like, that changing, that ever unfolding and collapsing, right? It needs to see how far it blossoms in order to close itself down, shed what it doesn't need, and blossom again. That's what trees do. That's what flowers do, right? They're constantly going in and out. And I feel like that's exactly how balance is. And it's like, you're not taking away from anything. You're giving to yourself more, because you're paying attention to yourself in that moment. You're allowing it to enrich your life while you're experiencing it. Like, I have this fanfic inside of me. I'm going to write as much as I can until I'm like, okay, and then I don't know what happens. So I'm going to just close my laptop and we're going to come back to it whenever I'm ready. And when you start like actually like coming back to things, like when you're ready, rather than like, well, I have to finish this at a specific time. That's too much masculine, right? You're like, when I'm ready, I will sit and I will work on it until I'm done. Not until I'm finished with the project, but until I'm done with this.
I love that so much. Oh my God. Okay. I feel like a lot of the burnout aspects are coming up for me right now, and the coach inside me is going all crazy. But that is so true, right? Because I feel that we put way too much stress on our own selves, right? Especially if, let's say, if I'm writing fanfics till 4 o'clock in the morning without sleeping, then I will be like, I have to finish this because I took time away from my sleep to work on this. So I have to finish it. Whereas you really don't. Like, I have shut down fan fictions so many times and have come back to it like after 2 months or something like that, just to finish it up. And that's okay. Like, heck, 2 months, I have gone away from stories for like an year, 2 years, honestly, because I was like, I don't know where it goes from here. And if I try to push it, I know I'll write shit. And I won't be satisfied. Like, I would be more upset about it than be like, oh yeah, at least I finished the project. Like, no, I would be completely dissatisfied. Like, what am I doing?
And that's how you find your values.
Yeah. Ooh.
Because at that point, when you're frustrated with the work you've done, that is a value. You're like, I value quality. Simply put, I value quality. I want to make sure that when I show up for something, I show up 110%. And when I'm not there anymore, I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that is 5D, because you're acting based on what feels good inside. You're not looking for pleasure, which can be like lost with like, oh, you're indulging. It's like, no, I'm not indulging. Indulging would be, like you said, pushing yourself too far and like over experiencing and then like burning out because you did something, like you over experienced yourself in a way. Right? That sounds a little sexual, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, paints an image, doesn't it?
So yeah. I got lost, sorry. I'm like blushing. Stop. Okay. Oh, okay. So we were saying.
Your face matches your hat right now.
I can feel it.
Oh God. Okay.
Oh. I forgot where I was going with that. I like completely like got lost. I was like, ha, that's a sex joke. I'm like, damn it, brain. 15-year-old Gisella, you're not in charge right now.
Okay. Oh God. My cheeks are hot.
I know. I was saying, okay, so that's how you find your values. See, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
When you're able to, when you get frustrated in life, that's because a value has been overstepped. You're like, I value something, it has not been respected. And when you find your values and you act within your values and you act within your desire, so it's like, I value this and it's calling to me right now, which my books do this to me all the time. I'm like, ooh, I feel like reading, but I don't know what to read. I'm reading like 8 books. I shouldn't read anything else. And it's like, just pick one. And then like, I'll like touch the spines and I'll like find one that feels good. And I'm like, this one, I guess. And then I'll just keep reading. I'll just open it up and read. Right. Yeah. So that is 5D, where you're able to embody your desire and act with your will.
Yeah. I love Simple. That. Yeah. And it actually also kind of leads to this, that I've often said this, and I'll say it like hundreds of times after this, is that if you have a bad experience, you can always learn from it, right? Like you said, if you overexert yourself, you understand what value you're placing more importance on or more priority on. And I feel like it's just a shift of perspective at the end of the day. Like, how are you seeing this? When something bad happens, are you seeing yourself as a failure, or are you understanding what it is teaching you about your own self? Right? Yeah.
I think, and this is something that's been coming up a lot this week, it's like, you have to be selfish, but you don't have to be selfish. And I'm going to explain what that means. It's you have to be able to understand that you're doing it for you. You're not doing it for anyone else. You're doing it for you. And that's okay. You can. You're doing it for you. I do the things I do because I want to. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I love helping people. I love guiding people. I love telling them that they're enough and seeing the look on their faces. I love seeing people light up and know themselves, because for me, it feels good. It makes me happy. Service, when you do it correctly, makes you feel good. When you're like, oh no, like, oh, like whatever, like, oh, don't even like, then you're being fake. And humility, like humility or like modesty has been taught to us for not to, it doesn't allow us to embrace our power. I feel like it makes us feel small, when it's almost like a tree apologizing for growing. You never see it. Why would it ever? Like, I'm growing because I want to. I'm blossoming because I want to, because this is what feels right.
Yeah, I love that, and it comes down to balance, right? Again, how much are you loving your own self? And it's all good unless you start to hurt someone, right? Like, so there needs to be a good balance around loving yourself and helping others. And I feel like this connects back to our first video where we were talking about people pleasing, and how we do a lot of things to please others, but is that in servitude of your own self? Or if you're doing it only to please yourself, is that in at some level in servitude to others, right? Like not every action needs to be because this is going to help the world get better, but if you are creating something, like there needs to be again a balance where it flows into servitude and it flows back into loving yourself. Yeah.
I think it has to do with intention as well as, because when you serve someone in order to get something from them, like a thank you, that is not the right intention. It is your intention right now, and that's totally okay. But when you don't receive it, that's when things get a little messy, right? You get pissed, you get frustrated, and it's because you had the wrong intention. If you did something with the intention of, I'm doing it because I want to, I'm opening this door because I would love for this person to walk in front of me. I want them to go in first. I have a beautiful arm and I want to use it. Like, perfect. Then they did it. And if they say thank you, you're like, oh, you're welcome, no problem, right? You're like, cool, whatever. But if you do something, you're like waiting for someone to say thank you. It's like, no. You're still looking for external validation, external, like an external high to give you that happiness. But when you are that happiness, regardless of what the external is showing you, then everything else is just extra. It's just extra, honey.
I
love it.
Again, a perspective change, a perspective shift. Yes.
Okay. Let's move into love and relationships. What did you want to talk about that?
Okay, so there were a few things and we can pick one of them because again, it's been okay, good. I feel like a part of it is connected to what we were speaking about today, about all these things coming up for us in terms of where, like Mercury retrograde, let's just leave it at that. But for the past few days, I feel like there has been a lot of shift in my life, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but there's this need to be loved, if you will, right? And that need has literally flourished and gone into my dreams, where I get so pissed off every time I have these kinds of dreams, because it feels like the other dimension or the other version of me in another reality is like having the time of their life with this person who's literally perfect in terms of it all. And, I'm sitting here just like seeing their movie or something like that. But it has been happening a lot. And now that I think about it, there comes into that aspect of, is that my intuition telling me that that is something that I can get in the future? That kind of love, like is that kind of love where you get like sickeningly sweet words. Okay, you kind of get annoyed by how sweet that love is, and you get pissed off because that's not yours. But you're also kind of like happy, like at least the dream version of me or this another reality version of me is experiencing that, right? And I mean, it has been coming up a lot for me. I don't know. So and just relationships in general. Like I was seeing this one show, and I feel like let's dive into that next week, because I feel like there's so much to unravel in that, like about trauma, about relationships, about all of that. Like it's a messy show, and you know what, you can watch it. It's called Scenes from a Marriage. And I actually went down that hole because I kind of like developed a new man crush on Oscar Isaac after watching Moon Knight. But anyways, it's actually a very weird, it pissed me off kind of a show, because I kind of get where it was heading to or what they were trying to show, but it also kind of pissed me off.
Because of the love or because of like other stuff?
Because of others, the drama. Ooh, drama. Yeah. Like the coach aspect of me was like, why are you doing this? Like, stop. Kind of a thing. So I feel like, oh, you know what? You watch it and then we can have like a discussion on it, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I would love to jump into this. So I know we're both like stretching. We're like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Everyone stretch break.
Yeah. It's so good to stretch after sitting for so long.
Deep breaths. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get it. So I think this ties into, like you said, Mercury retrograde.
Okay.
So I'm gonna yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna rephrase your question, and I want to make sure that this is what you were asking.
Yeah.
Make sure that this is what. So is this need for love that has been coming up in your dreams? Is this intuition? That's basically the question. Is it intuition?
Yeah. Is it intuition or is it just my mind being like, haha, you don't have it right now, kind of a thing?
Okay.
Which it can feel after having those dreams, you know, it's like
which is tricky.
Yeah.
They're being tricky, right?
Yeah.
I feel as if, and maybe I'll ask this as a question instead of saying it like a statement, but
yeah.
Do you feel as if you can receive this kind of love?
Yeah, that's why it sucks more, because it's like I don't have it right now. But yeah, I feel like yes, that, like, you know, it's just, it's like my ideal person or persons, right? Like ideal people, and it just feels like I'm ready. Like, why is this not coming to me, kind of a thing? And then it goes into that ugly feeling of I need this,
Like,
rather than
yeah,
let it come.
Is it kind of like envy or like jealousy?
It's
or like a hint of okay, a little hint of jealousy.
Yeah, like jealousy, not envy. Like envy is like too. It's like I would kill them so that I could have you in my mind. But jealousy is like I'm happy for you, but like
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I always say, I'm gonna put my pen down because I'm gonna start pointing if I have it.
You
it's my Italian side. I just speak with my hands.
Yeah.
Okay. So jealousy is you admiring someone else for showing up in a way that you haven't. So this makes sense. You want to show up as this person, right? You want to be surrounded by people that love you in this specific way, right? So you're admiring that person for showing up and being who you want to be.
Yeah.
So my suggestion, if I may give it, would be to see what that person is doing, since you've been able to see, right? And live in that way. So you may not have these people that you envision in your life, but you could literally treat anything like you cherish and honor it. And if you start acting and like moving through life as if your most loving partner is watching you, you move different, right? You move different. If Marley's watching me, I'm like, right? Like I'm like being like cute, like I'm working extra hard. I want her to see like everything that I do, right? Because you're like, you hold yourself better. You hold yourself with like your chest up. You're like, my baby doesn't want me to like put my chin down. Like she wants me to stand up straight. She wants me to like do this, right? So if you act as if they're watching you lovingly, like not judgmentally, they're just like watching you like do things, you're like smiling a little bit,
yeah, I'd be blushing all day long.
Right? Like they might be taking pictures. Like you want to be cute. You want to be you fully at your best present self, right? And even if you're down, you're like, I want to be open and honest completely with you. Like I want you to see my pain because we're going to be together forever. And I want you to see that. I want you to see how much I've experienced and how much you enrich my life just by being present with me through all this.
Ooh, yeah.
So when you show up in that way at this moment, even though like you feel like you're jealous and you don't think that you don't see it, right? But when you start acting this way, then it'll boost you forward. I know I looked at it too.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
But that was so good. Yeah, because that thought did cross my mind, right? Like, how about you live life like you're experiencing that love already, right? And I love that a lot, because that thought did come in my mind, but then it was quickly pushed aside by yeah. But I love it a lot, it's just this concept of how do I go about this? It's this concept of a piece of your heart that's missing, if you will, right? Like, that it exists somewhere out there, but it's missing, and it's like you see another version of you just having the time of the life, having that missing piece. You're just like, I want that. But yeah, I mean, oh god, I'm sounding like a lovesick idiot, whereas I'm not even in love, and I'm just like, and I promise I'm not swiney. It's only when I'll take it, Gisella, because when it comes to love, I just become this emotional idiot who's always like, I want to.
You just sigh deeply. You're like,
yeah.
I feel like that's who you are, like 90% of the time with like.
I am. Yeah. Whenever it comes to the topic of love, this is me, right? Like in every other aspect of my life, I'll be the most out there, crazy, confident, or the introverted version of me. But when it comes to love, I'm just like, that's literally me. Yeah. You guys got a crash course into me.
I want to tell you something that'll it might like burst your bubble a little bit, and it will also maybe provide some solace, I think would be the word.
Do it.
I have my wife, right? And I'm seeing someone, and I still have that little piece missing every now and then. Okay. And I know it hurts a little bit to hear that.
Yeah.
Those two people, and you, a lot of people in my life, fill that place every now and then, right? Like right now, it's being filled with this connection, this synergy, right? It doesn't have to be a specific person. I do it with my plants all the time. They're like so cute, and I like kiss them, and they're so sweet and loving to me, and they love me, and they love to grow, and I love it. So this pearl in the ocean, right? This gold rock, this little piece of gold in a well, is something that alchemists, everyone, like ancient civilizations, have been looking for. This is the little piece of yourself that we know that there's more, and it's because it's you. You are the more. You are the meaning. You are the value. You are the purpose. You are the path.
Yeah.
And the second you start saying or trying to see it in others, you lose it within yourself. And that's why it feels like it's in a well. Ooh. Right?
Yeah.
So the more you start finding it and allowing it, I keep doing this because it's my heart chakra for me.
Yeah.
The more it expands, and you're able to, again, attract everything that you need. So when you start realizing and you start acting like I said, like someone's watching you that you love, and like you already love everything around you because you're in love with everything, right? When you start acting like that, you start feeling that, and you start feeling it in your own cup, because you are watching you. You are watching you, and you are the God inside of you, watching you and loving you and being in love with you every single day. When I look in the mirror, sometimes I'm like, who is she? She's so cute. But it literally, it doesn't register in my mind that it's like me, because me is in here.
Yeah.
Like it lives in my heart. And sometimes I can feel me like along my spine. I can feel me everywhere else. But like this body is a gift. It's been gifted to me, and I love it. It's a cool body. It does really cool things. I can like, right? Like I can do really cool things. Yeah. But so when you allow yourself to remember that it's you who can create everything you desire by feeling it first, then everything else in your external world will start reflecting that, and then you have to say thank you. I think that is the key to life. There you go. You're welcome.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, I love that so much, because I have had that awareness for a pretty long time, because I keep thinking about this a lot, right? Like, obviously, when you think about something a lot, you have all these nuggets kind of pop up out of the sand, and you're just like, do I want to pick that nugget, or do I want to leave it alone because it's gonna hurt a bit, right? But I love it also because it kind of creates this idea that, coming back to life and death, is that there's always something missing, and you're always in search of that something, and it might fill the hole inside of you, it might not, it might fill it for a while, then it kind of ebbs away, and it flows in and it ebbs away. And I feel like I love that concept of it all, just searching for the missing part of you. And that's okay, you can search for the rest of your life and still not find it, and that's okay as well. And I feel like that's what gives us purpose in life as well. Like, what is purpose is just something where we can serve ourselves, or serve someone outside of us, or serve the people, serve the community, whatever you will. It's that need to keep doing something for a particular thing. Yeah.
I feel as if you said a lot of good things, but I'm also eating some like
It's good.
So good.
Feel that.
But I like had so many things I wanted to say, and I just lost them.
I am awesome like that. I invite people to talk a lot.
Blow my mind. I feel as if I was hoping it'd come back.
I'm gonna throw a fishing line and reel it back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you were saying that. I think I got stopped because I was like, wait, you need to correct her on this. I don't believe that purpose is doing. I believe it's being. And I think that's where I got like, you need to say that. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll say it. Dang. But when you're experiencing life, we can take it slow. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. We're not going to be, sometimes you search your whole life and you don't find this thing, right? The thing is that time doesn't exist for that gold. It's always there. And that's who you are.
Yeah.
So when you realize that you are death and you are life, and you've died multiple
so many times. Yeah.
So many times in this body still, you continue to die. When you accept that you die, I felt myself die multiple times, not only because of drugs, but because of letting go of specific aspects of my ego. I have said bye to her many times, and she lives, but she's dead. She's no longer driving. I love her. She needed to be driving at one point, but she's no longer, right?
Yeah.
So when you realize that you are constantly dying, life, death, rebirth, that is literally who you are, then when you say, oh, you might search your whole life for it, you realize that, well, that life might be over tomorrow. And that's how I hopefully am, right? I die every night. I live every morning. I'm a new person. I know what this body enjoys.
Yeah.
But I always try to push it to a different limit to see what else I can experience.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I kind of had a feeling that you had a opposing thought to put in there. So let me rephrase that. I feel like what I wanted to say was not to prioritize the search, but also like to be aware that it can exist. That makes sense. Yeah.
And you can enjoy searching.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
Love you.
We have less than 1 minute.
Yes, we do.
If you made it this far, bless you.
Thank you so much for being here. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below what you resonated the most with. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.